Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a Neuvillette listener by me. So let's get into it. He's been noticing a series of weird behaviors from you recently, but he never really questioned them that much. If anything, he was more worried about you and your mental well-being and why you are behaving that way, rather than the behaviors themselves. Except, he really didn't feel like he could question you. You could be defensive at times, and you could think that he was upset, which couldn't be further from the truth. So it was difficult to even think of how he should approach this, considering that you were sensitive at times, and he was not the best emotionally equipped person around. So he was confused and desperate to find a way to deal with this matter that would make sense to him and also be beneficial to you, since he doesn't really want to hurt you with his words, and he can't imagine doing that to you when you already seem to be in a terrible place mentally. So, after some thinking and a lot of pondering on the matter, he decides to do what he can, and what he can do right now is trying to talk to someone about it in a discreet manner. He didn't want to air out all your secrets after all, but maybe Mosine, she can probably tell him something about this. Any of them can, although they're not humans, but they've become so familiar with them, and they would probably know more than him anyway. And that's what makes him brave enough to go and talk to one of them. And after a long chat, he finally just decides to do what he wants to. After all, he cannot just keep beating around the bush. If it's something so important and worrying him so greatly, then he should confront you and talk to you. It must be something. He cannot be making all of this up in his brain. And that's why it is so important to be honest. At least that was what the Melusine said. And frankly, it's quite similar to what Farina thought about always communicating, just so relationships are not ruined. Maybe she was right about this, because that's how he finds himself at your own home, as you are making him tea, and he sits patiently, waiting for you to sit down. But then he finds something. No, a couple things in fact. Bandages that are hurriedly hidden away, not so subtly that he noticed them, and some band-aids. But you seem perfectly fine, or at least you're pretending to be. And he wants to know why you are, and why I can't see any of those injuries, since it seems to be something that was maybe recent and probably not all hidden as you make it out to be. And you don't seem to be showing any signs of pain. It is worrying, but he stays quiet until you sit down. Wayan, I've been trying to get closer to you recently, to talk to you more, and yet you've been rejecting all my advances. I seek to know why you're acting that way. Please, let me understand. I want to know what's going on, and what is bothering you. Oh, Neuvillette, I promise you've done nothing wrong. It's just that it's not really what you think it is. I'm going through some things right now, but I'll be fine, I promise. I am fine. You don't have to worry about me. You tell him, trying to be convincing, but you're not all that good at it, especially when he can see right through you. Well, you don't seem to be well to me. Look at you. You have eye bags. You don't seem to be sleeping that well. And when I checked to see what you were eating, there were some unhealthy leftovers. You're clearly not paying attention to your health, and there seems to be some bandages here, so you're hurt. Tell me, what is truly going on here? You seem to get nervous at this, fidgeting, and that's when he just loses all patience he had. He does not want to give you an opportunity to come up with a lie. He loves you, and he's not angry with you. He's just worried and mad at whoever forced you to do this. Even if that means being mad at himself in the end, because he partially is already. He feels guilty for not noticing sooner that something was horribly wrong. But when he rolls up your sleeve to check if there are any injuries, he sees them, the bandages, and how many places they're in. He checks your other arm, and there are some there as well, and he frowns. Who hurt you? Tell me. Neuvillette, I am fine. I promise. Who hurt you? He asks, and it's the first time you've seen him be so stern and so angry that you can't help but tell him all. Everything. About your parents, about the way they treat you, and how you find yourself unable to talk to them, unable to even speak out against them. You tell him you don't imagine them going to Mirafied. You don't want them sent there. That you also hate their treatment of you. And he listens. He stays quiet, holding you gently in his arms, offering you all the comfort that he can. Because if he speaks, the atmosphere here will be worse than the courtroom, which is not exactly what you need. And once you're done, he kisses the top of your head, choosing to use a few words to voice his decision and his thoughts. Please trust me when I say they will be dealt with. Now, please relax. I don't want you worrying about this any further, and I don't want you keeping secrets from me again. But Neuvillette, I don't want anything happening to them. You need to know this, please. I don't want them going to jail. I can't be the one to send them to jail. Neuvillette, please. He looks at you, and his heart hurts for how kind you are. How you're still willing to forgive them, even if not fully, but to just not send them to Mirapide when they deserve even more. It's too kind. Don't worry. I will deal with them personally, and I will not involve any laws in that matter. They will not be sent to Mirapide if that's what you're worrying about. Thank you. Thank you, Neuvillette. He kisses you sweetly, telling you to rest, and he sets out to visit your parents. He's got a long talk to have with them, and it's not going to be pleasant.